Hi viewers, welcome to this approaches of teaching unit, especially in part 2 level of preparing lesson plan, the understanding of teaching with the Morrison teaching model. So in this video, I want to share 5 different varieties of titles with you. First one is the key features of understanding level of teaching, and the second one is steps in Morrison teaching model. It is very important, and I will discuss 5 different steps in Morrison teaching model. And the third one is the strategies to implement Morrison model in teaching. So in that I will discuss 4 important key points with you all, and in continue to that I want to discuss the advantages of Morrison teaching model and how it is best for teaching situations, and finally discuss with limitation and comparison with other models. So these are the important areas I want to share with you in this particularly understanding level of teaching model prescribed by H.C. Morrison. So let us go to the title one by one. Okay. First thing is the basic concept of Morrison model is he used to give more importance beyond the memorization, and he used to focus more on developing a comprehension and the ability to apply knowledge in various contexts. So that is very important. Apart from mere memorizing the concept, he used to go beyond that limit and to improve the comprehension level and application of knowledge in various aspects. So this model is mainly emphasize the mastery of content through reasoning and structured thinking. So Morrison, he insisted 2 important things in his model, such as to improve the reasoning ability and also to formation of structured based thinking for better teaching. So in this way we have to understand the strength of the Morrison model with some evidences. So let us first I want to share the key features of Morrison model. So I want to share the 4 different parts that is to be used to provide a better teaching experience to the students. So such as objective, the framing of objective in the Morrison model, and the role of the teacher, and continue to that the role of the learner, and finally the teaching techniques. So why I insist these 4 key features for Morrison model of teaching is, once a teacher want to deliver a quality teaching to their childrens, then they should have some plan, and that itself insist by the Morrison model. So these things are very important. I will discuss one by one with small hints. The first foremost thing is primary objective. It is nothing but the learners enable to learn concepts, principles and its relationship according to their need of the teaching. This is nothing but the learners can able to encourage and ability to analyze, synthesize and apply knowledge in various teaching concepts. So once the objective is clear enough, then automatically the teaching will be provided in an effective manner. In this part, the role of the teacher is very, very important. Especially, the teacher must be act as a facilitator and used to explaining, guiding and encouraging the critical thinking among the students with the use of real life examples to grasp the content very easily and deep understanding to our students. So when the teaching should be effective and more useful, then it should be reached to the students in an effective manner. And the role of the teacher is a very, very important part in implementing a best teaching. So Morrison insists the role of the teacher is an important factor. And the next important key feature is role of the learner. Even though the teacher can teach a very well content with an effective methodology, the learner's part is also very, very important. The role of the learner is nothing but active engagement in understanding and questioning and applying knowledge. That is nothing but to involvement in reasoning and making logical connections between the concepts which was delivered by the teacher. So the learner's role is very, very important in Morrison teaching. And continue to that, teaching techniques, that is very, very important. The teaching technique is nothing but usually lecture method is to be followed in most of the teaching situations. But Morrison insists that the demonstration and the discussion and problem solving activities to be implemented in his teaching model. So automatically these things are insist a more deeper learning among the students with the proper implementations. So these are some of the key features of Morrison level of teaching. 5 important steps to be followed to properly understand and better implementation of Morrison model in the teaching. The first one is nothing but the preparation. It is nothing but the exploration of content. It is very, very important. We have to start the teaching with the stimulating some activities such as asking questions, create some situations and provide some activity to create a curiosity among the children. So then only the children may actively engage in the learning process. So that is very, very important. And especially if we will explain this with an example, while introduce a concept of gravity, then we have to ask a simple question that why do objects fall to the ground? So if we ask like these questions, then their curiosity may increase, their questioning ability may increase, their learning interest may create. So we have to relate our topic with the real life experiences, then automatically the learning will be strengthened. So this is the first step of implementation of a Morrison teaching model. And to continue to that, second one is presentation. While we have to prepare ourselves for teaching, then we have to present it to students. It is nothing but the exploration step. It is nothing but the delivering the content with a clear and detailed explanations. So even though we prepared a lot and with a very high content material, how we have to deliver it to our children is very, very important. So it should be clear and detailed explanations. It is needed. Usually for this kind of teaching, we have to make use of the support of multimedia devices and making use of some three-dimensional models to create a concrete knowledge among the children. For example, if I ask an example for this presentation, then use live videos or demonstration classes to explain how gravity works. So even though we explain everything through the teaching or the lecture method, we have to show some demonstrations. Nowadays the DG boards are available in everywhere. So if we use some projection method to deliver it, then automatically it will take some efforts. The next one is assimilation. This is nothing but discussion. How we have to engage with the students' discussions. That is very important. So assimilation in the sense of exploring their understanding and correct the misleading ideas or misconcepts. We have to rectify their mistakes and their defects in their learning. That is very important part in Morrison model of teaching. Why? Because even though the teacher can teach the lesson effectively, sometimes if the students may understand wrongly, then the whole concept is waste. So that part is very important. And to continue to that, we have to give some different ideas of encouraging students to discuss and predict the outcomes of dropping objects of different weights. That can be more useful. Then the next thing is structuring the knowledge. Though we have to prepare and explain and discussion, then we have to make an arrangement of our teaching. Then only they can clearly understand in a step-by-step process. So that is nothing but organization of the content. That is important. Usually it helps the organization of information in a coherent patterns or frameworks. We can use some maps and diagrams and charts to create a summarized concept of our whole teaching. Then it should be more effective, especially in the title of gravitational force. If we have to create a map, then automatically the students can able to understand. And finally, evaluation is nothing but application. Whenever the learning can takes place, automatically the application part is very essential to test it whether the learning is properly reached or learned by the learners or not. So for that, asking students to apply knowledge in the new situations or practical situations. For example, a simple experiment to test the gravitational pull with different materials. So usually gravitational force may happen with all the materials in a different forces. We have to test it with that. So these are some of the important steps of Morrison teaching model to clearly understand the concept. Then to continue to that things. So in this strategies to implement the Morrison model, I will share 4 important categories to implement in an effective way. First one is problem based learning. So usually the learning can take place in the classroom situations with different ways, such as a discussion method, then lecture method, sometimes demonstration method, sometimes some practical activities, then discussion with the real world experiences. So in that situation, we have to pose some problems that require learners to analyze and find solutions. So that is implemented by Morrison. We have to create a situation and ask them to find a solution for that. Then they can easily understand the situations. For example, present a scenario of where students calculate the force required to move an object. So moving with an object with the force is a common thing, especially where they can implement it. That is very important in this. Second important strategic implementation is collaborative activities. Whenever we need to give an effective teaching, we have to incorporate with some kind of extra activities, such as collaborative is a very important thing that should encourage a group work and discussion to promote a better peer learning. That is very important. So even though the teacher can teach a best method, the peer learning should strengthen their understanding more than that of the normal classroom teaching. So as a teacher, we will provide a chance for our students to create a peer based learning. Then finally, use of technology and frequent feedbacks. Technological sources nowadays very important, and through the technological sources we have to incorporate it to improve the stimulations, and to provide some animations, and to provide some virtual reality concepts to clarify the complex concepts. So that is the important strategies to implement different concepts of according to Morrison. And finally, feedback. Feedback is nothing but an important part in all the methods of teaching, because the continuous discussions and continuous reinforcement and continuous support will give more knowledge for the learners. So, and also this is a very important part of the better teaching, and that should be implemented by Morrison. So in continue to that, we have to move on to the next important part. In this phase of Morrison teaching model, we have to look at the four important advantages, such as it will enhance the deep understanding of concepts rather than the normal learning. It is nothing but the surface level of learning. We called simply it as a memorization. So the Morrison model mainly insists the understanding the concept in a deeper learning. Then second one is we have to provide real world applications. So we have to prepare the learners to apply knowledge in a practical and meaningful context. So if we give some projects, if we show some models, then automatically they can understand the real application part of the teaching. Then third one is encouraging active participations. So when the students engage with the real teaching, then their inquiry level, discussion level and reasoning level may increase according to the situation of learning. Then fourth one is structured learning. So we have, as per the Morrison teaching model, we have to give the teaching in a step-by-step process. That approach encourages the quality learning among the learners, and the step-by-step approach ensures through exploration of topics. So then automatically the learning will be more than the normal things. And in the same time, there is a minimum limitations is also possible in the Morrison teaching method, nothing but time intensive, because it takes a little more time to complete the discussions or even activities or even the evaluation process. And very important thing is the requirement of active participation of teachers. So even though the learners are very interest, suppose if the teachers are not interest, means the whole project is failure. So well prepared and skilled educators are needed to implement the Morrison level of teaching. And the last one is it is not suitable for all the topics. In some topics we may not use these kinds of things. We may explain in different methods. So these are some of the limitations. And final thing is the comparison. So I need to compare two things. One is Morrison level with Herbartian level. It is nothing but memory and understanding. So it is nothing but in the memory level, it mainly focus on rote learning. But in the case of Morrison level, the understanding, and it emphasize reasoning and comprehension. In the same thing, reflective level and understanding level. So reflective level engages in critical thinking and problem solving beyond the comprehension stage. So we have to give a metacognition, learning of learning, that can be positive in reflective level and higher order thinking skills. So these are some of the important points of Morrison model of teaching, and how we have to prepare our lesson plan with these Morrison based ideas, and how it should be incorporated with our teaching to provide a better learning situation among our children. So with this I conclude. The next session we have to discuss with the reflective level of teaching. Thank you for your understanding and for your cooperation.